Yes.
Bogdanov, he did it.
Il bought.
He went all in.
Dumpy. No! No!
You heard it here first. Bitcoin is going to zero. When it comes out, zero.
Just hodl, bro.
Welcome to the TGH podcast. Every Monday, we at TGH are going to give you a rundown of the fundamentals, news, and macro perspectives of the market. Tune in every Monday, join myself, Shaman, Panda, and Keegan while we give you a quick rundown. How are we, guys?
Great.
Good, how are you?
Very good,
Been a
very good.
Freaking wild week. Let's be honest here.
Yeah,
It's been a busy week.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Markets are looking better, aren't they?
Oh, fantastic. So funny
Doing
enough.
right.
Okay, so you mentioned that we were going to start this, right? This is like the first official week of us doing this. My idea from this came from no one's really sure of what the hell the market is doing right now because we've been in this weird ass crab phase. And so I was like, okay, screw it. Let's just do weekly news updates because, there's so much happening right now. And regardless of whether or not, the price is up or down right now, there's still a lot of stuff developing. And
100%.
there's no point in just not paying attention to it. So, figured, may as well dive deep.
I love that. And you're so
much
right,
stuff going on.
because even though the markets are quiet price-wise, they've never been so busy fundamentally. And there is just so much news going on right now in the market. So, Keegan, you've come on today to give us a rundown of some of the news over the last week. Can you run off some of that?
Yeah. So just to get started, we've had a just wild start to the week where the EU voted against the ban on the proof of work cryptocurrencies. Huge boost, honestly, for the week. We literally pumped like right after the announcement. It was kind of wild that morning, but it was really good news because we're not going to ban Bitcoin. I saw a recent chart. I think it was 2 days ago, actually, that showed the amount of emissions for Bitcoin, and it was literally less than the amount of emissions from laundry machines.
Is that right?
I'm not kidding. Yeah, it was a ridiculous chart from like Electric Capital. They did this huge analysis for the market for 2021, and Bitcoin literally put less emissions than washing machines.
So that's something you can remember when someone throws that argument in that Bitcoin is so energy consuming.
I love it.
Always getting that one.
It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense.
Because they were comparing. Sorry, they were comparing that to banks, weren't they? And saying banks' emissions are way worse than Bitcoin. So now you've just said that they're as bad. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So crack on.
But hundreds of X more for the normal banks and just for like everything else. And then it just gave like normal comparisons. And they're like, oh, laundry machines, by the way. Yeah, that actually is more than Bitcoin. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's crazy.
What else have we got?
So moving forward, then March 15th, just the day after, we had a great event for ETH. The Ethereum Kiln testnet merge was successful. They produced blocks post merge, which is freaking awesome.
That's a big one.
Gives a good sign that we'll get ETH consensus layer this year, ideally by June.
Amazing.
And that means the triple halvening. And if anyone doesn't know what that is, it's where we get a 90% reduction in ETH issuance, which is the equivalent of 3 Bitcoin halvings in one event.
Whoa.
So if you
crazy.
think of whatever the 2020 halving did for Bitcoin, it's 3x that for ETH.
So are we saying it's time to load ETH and
Bullish
forget
on ETH.
Bitcoin for now?
Always
Bullish on
been
ETH?
bullish.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've been saying this since we've been falling. I mean, I've been saying it for a long time. Glad that it's kind of being picked up. There's some people that have been on Twitter that have finally picked up on the idea that, hey, by the way, guys, there's going to be a lot less ETH coming to market here really, really soon.
Wow. I'm so glad that I went heavier into ETH recently on the dip than Bitcoin. I said, didn't I, that I've been flipping ETH back into, and I couldn't decide whether to hold or sell here, and I decided to hold. So let's see where the market goes. But everyone's starting to turn bullish slowly now. Everyone's been bearish, haven't they? But we've sort of.
I'm a super bull. Let's be real.
I am a bull long term, but I'm saying in the short term perspective, we've just been taking the market as it comes. But it's
Yeah.
all been on a positive perspective, though, hasn't it? There's been no bearish.
It's all coming together. Yeah.
There's been no bearish news.
I think we had in this 1 week we had more bullish news, honestly, than in probably whole 2017 to like 2019 combined.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, actually. Yeah, you're right.
And
there was
anymore, it feels like the big news is just normal news. News that would have done, it would have been like peak FOMO back in 2017 is now just like run of the mill. Like, it's weird. It's weird how it's growing, but I'm not going to.
It gives perspective, even though it's not like short-term pumping. It gives you an outlook that crypto's not going anywhere. People are still thinking, oh, maybe it goes to zero, maybe it gets banned or some shit. But you should be seen by all that it's not going anywhere. It's just too big already.
Love it. Love that perspective, guys. What's next, Keegan?
Yeah, so speaking of too big to really go anywhere, we actually have had Microsoft recently invest in Consensus, which is Consensus is essentially ETH2 for anyone that missed the name change. So they led a $450 million funding round, which is huge, raised the total valuation to $7 billion, and all of that $450 million will be going back towards buying ETH.
Wow.
Which I don't think has been done yet. So do that math as you will.
Definitely not.
No.
From my personal perspective, might sound a bit strange. I'm not into all these Bill Gates, Microsoft conspiracy theories, of course. But looking back, Bill Gates is really fucking good at seeing trends early. So he was buying farmland when nobody was. And now you got Ukraine, Russia. Farmland is needed. And he kind of been into all that stuff. He's been into like the Vax shit and everything. So his analysts definitely know their shit. And if they're investing into Ethereum, you should do to follow the smart money.
Yeah. During COVID, he was literally just buying land, wasn't he? And we were all like calling him out sort of thing. Why is he buying all this land? Now we know why. And just so right in what you said as well. I love that, Panda, by the way. Follow the smart money. And that's advice not just for following Bill Gates, but any whale, isn't it? And the whales are accumulating now, aren't they?
Regarding to following the smart money, sorry, this is a good switch here. The total transfer volume and loss, we made a new higher high on these lows. So what that means, for anyone that doesn't know what that is, basically it means more people are selling at a loss. They're capitulating essentially. And so when we're making higher highs on that indicator, it means more and more people are selling at a loss, even though we're at higher prices. So even in the summer, we had lower capitulation than we do now, which is kind of wild. It means we have even further to go back towards its mean regression. And so it falls back towards, the low. But I mean, it's a really good sign. We haven't seen that.
It's the same every cycle. It's the
always the same. Yeah,
it's the same. And
people won't learn, man. The emotions are just like 100%. Too big for them, and they can't control them.
You're even seeing big influencers who are bearish, and they can't even see the basic signs. And I'm like,
I remember
so
your tweet.
I've been raging over these influencers. Anyway, crack on. Keegan, what else?
So related to that, we've actually seen other examples of smart money moving. We've now hit the lowest values for Bitcoin and ETH on exchanges since 2018 and 2019.
Wow.
Which is kind of ridiculous. It means that Bitcoin is being taken off and put into either cold wallets, hot wallets, or for ETH, it's probably for DeFi, or just for ETH staking. There was a 200K ETH deposit to the ETH2 staking contract, right? Which is a record in one day.
That is crazy.
Wild. Yeah,
that is crazy.
So much ETH. And I think it's because people are starting to realize that once it switches to proof of stake, you get 12% APY instead of the 4% for proof of work.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah, 12% APY on the hard asset is really attractive to big players.
And there's nowhere safer to put your money, is there? Really
is. No, there isn't right now.
Yeah, because stable yields have been really, really lately. They've been pretty
Yeah,
I've seen a few threads that they've been really not performing versus just holding Bitcoin, like holding ETH.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is kinda
I've
wild.
not done much farming. I've done some farming. You know, I'm on the spin top staking pills at the moment. You know, it's good APY, but I've not got that much money in there. If you're talking about putting money into like proof of stake with ETH, you're talking big money. You wouldn't put small money in there, would you?
Well, you could, but no, you don't want to just
want
have that as your main. No, if that was all you had was just like a little bit of ETH, no, you wouldn't want to just put only that little bit of ETH into staking. No, you'd want to try and gain some ETH first.
Flip some shit coins for it.
Yeah. This is what I'm getting at. I was trying to get at. If you only had a small amount of money, this should just go out to the degens out there who are thinking, well, I might throw my ETH on, the proof of stake. No, don't. You flip shit coins.
Yeah.
you come to TGH and buy some of our picks and flip those shit coins, make those 50x's that we keep giving out. Our generosity is just has no limits, does it, guys? What's next, Keegan, on the news list?
Oh yeah. Okay, so we go forward. Ukraine has officially legalized the crypto sector amidst the whole debacle, and we're not going to get into that, but
it is a huge country, honestly.
On the
Good
one
call.
Good hand is there have been over like 100 million donations from crypto participants.
And sorry, Keegan.
Cool.
If we compare the crypto donations to donations in fiat, have you found that out yet? Or
I haven't seen any.
You know?
I mean, well, okay. So if we're talking like donations, the United States government technically allocated like 14 billion, but who knows where that money is going to go?
True.
So yeah, there's been a lot of fiat money thrown over, but I don't. It's still good to see.
The thing is that's crypto money. A lot of that comes from like average people or even like early crypto investors. It's not like governments sending cryptos over. So it's really just normal people mostly. And you got companies like Binance. I think Binance alone sent them like 10 million or something in crypto.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, FTX sent like 5 million or something like that. Also,
but
like just huge amounts.
Also, like
really
coming back to that as from a macro perspective, Ukraine has 40 million. A population of 40 million. It's double the size of Germany, and it's economically not as small as, for example, other Latin American countries which are looking to adopt crypto. It is quite a big country, and as soon as the conflict settles, that's going to make a big wave, I'm sure.
By the way, guys, I know we don't want to get into this, but it is strange the way that Ukraine has such a small population for the country size, and I
would say it's quite a big population. Yeah, for the country size maybe not, but like for a country that enters crypto, it's quite massive, to be honest.
Yeah, but
like El Salvador is only we're talking less than 10 million people.
Yeah. What I mean is population to size, the size of the country. But the other thing was there's a lot of resources, natural resources in Ukraine as well. But guys, I don't want to get into that anyway because we'd be here all day talking about it. What's next, Keegan?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so lastly on the no, we got two. So first, big government news. Not really big in my opinion, but the interest rates were raised 25 basis points with total 0.5% interest at the moment, excuse me. We're predicting up to like 7 more rate hikes, but inflation is 7.9%, which is really, really, really high. Highest in like 40 years. So I'm not really sure how much these 25 basis points are going to do, but that's up for debate.
Okay, they're going to implement 7 more times. What
probably,
this year?
This year
over how long? Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
it is, I think, expected for this year. But in the past, they've been always saying stuff like this. Whenever there was a crisis, they've been talking the talk, but usually not walking the walk. As soon as big companies and big guys starting to like roll over them and saying you can't do it, they're not going to do it.
Right?
They might do 1 or 2 more, but I'm really sure they're not going to go with 7 this year.
So we've been talking about bullish news so far, haven't we? This is more on the bearish side.
By the way, have you seen the South Korea news? So they got a new president-elect, and if you remember, I know Keegan has entered crypto in like I think 2020, but you, Shaman, you've been around, and South Korea has been one of the major players, especially in 2017 with ICOs like Icon, I think, was one of their so-called South Korean Ethereum. killers, and then they completely outlawed crypto, which was quite a hit for crypto back then. So now with the new president-elect, he said he's going to make like South Korea one of the crypto hubs in the world.
That's right, yeah.
Give them nice tax rates, allow ICOs to come back and stuff. So I think that's really big for the market.
The weird thing for me was I didn't even realize that South Korea banned crypto. So I'm learning. I'm learning a lot here, guys.
Well, it's funny.
Well, the crazy bearish times, so it kind of went under because the market was wrecked anyways.
Yeah.
The ICO boom, yeah. But at this point, though, they now have, I just read a few weeks back, so the fact that a South Korean president is now bullish on crypto, cool. There was something published where a fund is worth $200 billion and they're going to invest in the Metaverse, which is a lot of money. The Metaverse alone is worth like 30 billion. It's really not worth a whole lot if you like.
That's the thing, yeah.
So when you bring the scale of the money in, it becomes a very large difference.
Especially when you see it from that perspective, that those 30 billion, their market cap, and market cap is kind of like an illusion. So if you pump actual money in the market, it quadruples the market cap. It's not just going to increase by that amount, but actually like 4x, 5x the market cap easily.
Yeah, because the price will be based on the liquidity. And so it'll go way higher than what the amount that you're putting in.
Have you got anything to finish off the news round before we move to our TGH picks news?
Yeah, so the last bit of news for the week, we had some NFT news, pretty big news. Apes token listed directly on Binance. Obviously was pretty whiplashy day. Yeah. We saw one of the most wrecked transactions of the year. Probably in the last 3 years, this dude bought two ape tokens for 942 ETH. Which is just disgusting. I actually don't know. Everyone's arguing over whether it was a front run or if he got sandwiched. Or
I was just about to say, how could that shit happen?
Sandwiched.
Yeah, I can't tell if he actually arbed it and made money off of it. I don't know. It was a weird transaction, but I mean, it was a wild listing day. It has the most volume by Ethereum whales for the past week. And most of the tokens went to BAYC holders and a few other apes NFTs derivatives.
Crazy.
That's a whale game with this token.
Yeah, people got huge airdrop money, but I would not recommend trying to ape into ape.
Definitely not.
And play with the whales.
Good advice. I'm seeing a lot of influencers giving the same advice right now on Twitter. They're not touching ape. It's a whale game right now. Wait for it to settle and then look at it. Don't ape into ape just yet. Okay, that's the news round finished with. Thank you for bringing that to us, Keegan. Now, the TGH picks. What news have we got on some of our current picks?
Yeah, so one of the biggest news of the week, Sand gets a partnership with HSBC. It's a bank, obviously. If you don't know what HSBC is, they have $3 trillion under management, and they are entering Sand. They are going to enter the Metaverse, which is huge. I'm pretty sure I remember you guys called Sand originally before I joined. Back like this
been a while, right?
2019 or 2020 or something like that.
How many X's was that, Panda? So how many X's did it reach from where we got in at TGH? I mean, it must be
700, 600 X or something like this. I'm not even sure. Close to 1,000 probably.
Crazy. Yeah. I thought HSBC were non-crypto friendly, by the way, guys. I knew a lot of people who were trying to withdraw money out through HSBC and couldn't because they would not support crypto. But now they're aping into Sand.
It's a super weird flip because just 2 years ago they were saying no crypto, this is all bullshit, like it's all a Ponzi scheme, it's all just gonna die. And now the banks are like, now wait a second, can we get in on this? Like,
can we
hop in?
Can we buy the top? Can we buy the top? Yeah, go for it, guys.
I don't think they are. That's the crazy part. I don't think they are. I think they realize that when you take into consideration how much money exists in the world and what can be made on the blockchain, I don't think they're wrong. They didn't make this much money by being dumb.
Exactly. They're definitely part of the smart money.
wanted to point one thing out, guys. I was reading an article the other week about the market cap of Sand compared to Minecraft, and I'm not sure what the actual figures are now, but Minecraft has had something like 500,000, 500,000 users.
Active players,
Players, and Sand had something like 20,000, and Sand was like times 10 the market cap of Minecraft.
I
Seriously.
Wow. Oh my God, that's terrible.
Seriously, and I think they were the figures. I'm pretty sure I'm not far off on the figures there, but
I think actually the Sand active player base was even lower. I think it's been less than 10k or something.
It's insane. Like it's literally insane. That just shows how well, you know, it was one of our picks. So I'm not going to foot it.
But yeah, it definitely shows there's a ton of speculation in the metaverse space, which is not a bad thing. You can make money off the speculation and off the hype. So just make use of it.
100%.
I think there's also the part that, like, you know, like I played Minecraft before. I think a lot of kids my age have played Minecraft before. You can't own any part of Minecraft. You just buy like you just buy the software and you get to play the game. And you can like own a world per se, but like you don't actually own it. It's just a server that technically belongs to Minecraft. And so it's a different type of valuation because you can't actually own the parts of Minecraft, if that makes sense.
I like that. That.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah,
it's a good point out because it means that in some perspective, Sandbox kind of has a brighter future in some respects because it's got all this NFTs, blockchain.
I think all that stuff,
ownership.
Exactly what you just mentioned with the ownership, with the NFTs, that's just a game changer for games in general. Imagine we've been playing World of Warcraft, and when you stopped at some point, all the stuff you grinded for hundreds of hours is just gone. But now you got the ownership, you can sell it, you can, I don't know, flip it for something else. You can even flip it for another token or flip it for another game or some shit.
What I'm very excited for, and this is kind of like really, it's kind of far in the future, I think, but not as far as we might think it is like, for example, if you were in World of Warcraft and you had all these items and they're like really dope items, you put in a lot of, you know, time for them and you did really hard quests or whatever, to be actually able to bring those to another game that is compatible with them throughout, like, everyone says the metaverse, and at this point the word doesn't mean anything, but like this, you know, web between games that lets you bring all of your items between them so that like you can be that character and bring that experience into another story. Not in the sense that you could be like overpowered from day one. I mean, there would obviously have to be some limitations on this, but I do think long term we're going to see some really cool stuff in terms of like actual item ownership in regards to games.
What else have we got, Keegan, on the TJH Picks news?
Yeah, so speaking of land, we also have Hustle is doing their land sale here really soon, March 30th, which is only 9 days away. So make sure to keep an eye out there. They have land available for 25 Hustle per. And then I think if you were a Hustle peer liquidity provider, you can get a discount, and you also get a whitelist. So I think that's over now, but prior, if you did add liquidity, you are on that waitlist. So that's pretty cool news.
Starting to make some waves, Hustle, isn't it? It's starting to slowly trend.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, but they did a good switch from the music to the metaverse and music. I think music is a great category, but it just needed another boost.
Spice it up a little bit.
100%.
Yeah, spice it up a little bit. Yeah.
Completely agree. I don't know. Yeah, completely agree. Love some of the stuff that they're doing as well with that in regards to introducing some of the celebrities and really trying to, you know, keep it upbeat and bring. I think the marketing wise, I expected to see more with some of the celebrities on board. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's just because they were sort of part of some of these celebrities were part of my era.
Busta Rhymes.
Just not into crypto, really. Just kind of like, yeah, I'll do this.
Busta Rhymes was like the OG when I was growing up, but maybe Busta Rhymes is no longer.
I remember you once you tweeted something like Busta Rhymes involved, and some guy was like, "This guy is irrelevant for the past 20 years."
I got into hustle.
Oh, that's terrible.
I got into hustle around here, and I started shilling it, and I said, Busta Rhymes is in hustle, guys. Let's fucking go. And somebody went, Busta Rhymes has been fucking irrelevant for 20 years, you cunts. I was like, all right. Jeez.
Yeah, thanks for the input, man. I was
oh,
hyped and you just shat on me. Thanks.
I realized I'm getting old. Like, seriously, I'm getting old.
If I don't know if it makes you feel any better, but I don't know. I didn't know who Busta Rhymes was. So
You didn't know.
No.
Oh my
For
god.
real?
Now don't just stop. Next news.
Next news. Okay, we'll just go to that. All right. Wild. Speaking of opportunities, Wild is doing weekly giveaways of pets in their Wildverse, which is super cool. They're really cool art. I love them. I really wanted a wolf. I don't think I got one, but I tried. So we'll see. But they have some really cool stuff being released. They're almost close to, I mean, they just finished Neighborhoods, I think. Their developers release content like all the time of what they're actually doing day to day. Which but yeah, so if you're looking for some rare items to have in game, definitely try for those weekly giveaways and just stay up to date. We also have a Spin Top podcast probably just released. I don't remember, Shaman, if it was just released or if you just finished.
Teaser has been released today. Spin Top TGH podcast episode is out tomorrow.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Well, there you go. Won't dive in too deep to that because if you want to listen in, just hop on the podcast. We're big fans of Spin Top, huge Gamify Sector, honestly.
Zero, the co-CEO, came over a couple of days ago, and he was great, actually. Nice guy. He ran through some of the facts, but I think we're better waiting for that episode and maybe cover it on next week's show.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving forward, Dragon War, one of the IDOs that we're watching, just finished their Gleam campaign. I applied to that also. Another gaming project, because personally I don't see games going away, and this kind of style has, shown to do well, and I think we all can kind of agree on that. In the long term, I just don't see games disappearing at the end of the day. Next we have we had a Twitter announcement last week, still running. We have 4 Project Europa whitelist spots available, which is a node project that uses NFTs, so you can combine those NFTs to make planets that then harvest more of the Europa tokens, which is, and it's got a really cool emissions reduction cooldown mechanism. Makes it so that the emissions aren't stupid high and people can't just buy their way into stupid high APR and just play the whale game. They have some pretty good mechs around that, so I think that's going to do really well.
We'll probably have the guys over from Project Europa on the podcast at some stage, just to get a bit more of insight into what they're doing, because it does look interesting. It's just nodes, isn't it? It's just literally you just build nodes, you just make nodes, and you just keep compiling nodes. I've not really had much exposure into node projects, so I'm looking forward to actually understanding a bit more about it and how sort of nodes work. My only concern with it, guys, is that it might become a little bit of a distraction to, my usual day-to-day routine and kind of, trading
if you
and investing.
Have to put time into like doing all the node stuff, you mean?
Yeah.
I think the nice thing is that a lot of it is auto compounded.
Upkeep time and some shit.
If there's loads of maintenance involved, i.e. going on the website every single day, clicking something, and you'll only make like a couple of $100 for doing that, then we'll have to see. I'm not writing it off. I'm just telling you guys straight that I've not had much exposure to nodes, and whether they are time consuming, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Only a couple of $100. Some guys watching this are like, that's my fucking monthly wage.
True. It's all about perspective. So it is about perspective. Keep that in mind.
True. Next, have you got? How much have you got? Have you got
only 2 left. But it's been a busy week. The L2 race is picking up, where we basically have 50 cents or under, basically across the board. I think only 1 or 2 L2s are above 50 cents right now, and they're still below $1. So pretty solid. and we're going to get even better ones here pretty soon. These just keep improving on L2s. So if you're tired of shitty L1 fees on ETH, which are kind of down recently, but you know,
we had
they're
Metis
still
on, didn't
shitty.
we, a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, Keegan? We had Metis on.
Yeah, Metis is a great example. Where I mean, fees are like less than $1, I'm pretty sure. Last I did a transaction. Super cheap. Yeah, fast as hell. I can use MetaMask just like I do with everything else. And so, you know, it's a wonderful example.
Love it.
Yeah, so our very last news for the for TGH picks, Gold Fever, which we're super excited for, released another mid-monthly developer update. And have also released a couple more teasers related to gameplay and then the loot box interface that they've had. So we're really excited for that game to release.
I love the teasers.
It's actually, I really want to play it so bad.
How good does Gold Fever look? I'm shocked at the.
It looks fucking amazing. The thing is, people have been playing their beta and stuff, beta and alpha, and it obviously has bugs because you can't have a game of this size and not have bugs in the early stages. I've been playing Rust on Steam, and it was completely fucking bugged. Like your buildings were just crashing randomly, stuff was exploding and shit. But that also kind of like makes the charm of a game like this, because you learn all these bugs if you're a dedicated player, and you kind of learn to abuse them in some sense.
Yeah. Take advantage of them.
Abuse the shit out of them.
blow up your enemy buildings and shit. Just have fun. And we've been recording that stuff. We had a blast playing it.
Done a great job there, you
That's
know,
amazing.
of done a great job of explaining the pros of bugs.
Honestly, I think they're great. Bug videos on YouTube, those are
It's
great.
fun. It's
Bug
fucking fun. These
complications?
random moments when just some random shit happens and everyone's like, "What the fuck just happened?"
I've got to admit that is funny. That is really funny. He's played Call of Duty and they started booking all the maps and people were flying around in the air and Superman was just, everyone was there shooting and firing and Superman just fly past the sniper rifle scope and like, yeah, it's fucking funny as hell.
Well, and the nice thing about this is that it's a game that I actually want to play because the gameplay is actually good. Yeah, it has bugs. Sure, that's fine. That's part of development.
Yeah, exactly.
But the game is good. Yeah. Like it actually, it's basically like Rust. It reminds me heavily of Rust, and I love it. I haven't played that in years.
That note, I think Compete, also one of our recent picks, had some news, and they also said that they're going to give all holders beta access or some shit.
Like yeah, I missed that. Yeah. Thank you for that.
It's also like similar to Gold Fever in some perspective, because they have real game footage, which is something I really like to see. Actual game footage, not just some random trailers which are only cinematics, and everyone could make a cinematic trailer that doesn't tell you anything about the game.
Yeah.
And he's had full on like multi-minute videos of live gameplay, which is really cool.
It looks good. Like graphic wise, everything looks good.
I'm just on the Twitter, the Compete Twitter now, by the way, guys. And Justin Meister, the CEO, is doing the live press conference tomorrow.
Nice.
But it's 7 o'clock.
Okay, so by the time this publishes,
7 a.m. I think that's 7 a.m. So yeah, you might have just missed that.
Oops. 7 a.m.
But it'll still be there to watch.
We'll be there, yeah.
After it's happened.
Sure.
So guys, this has been great roundup. We'll do this on a weekly basis, bringing you all the news, sort of fundamental changes in the markets, macro trends, and keeping people updated. Good stuff. Anything to add before we go, guys?
I think that's it.
No, honestly, it's been a wild week. I'm pretty bullish overall, but obviously cautiously optimistic.
Maybe as some last words, like we see all these developments, all this news, and price is not reflecting it right now, but it's eventually going to caught up with the like developments in the space, and you don't want to buy when it's already pumping. This is the time where you want to dollar cost average in. You got all the news, you can read up on everything, and just buy while it's still cheap.
Yeah, And also on that note, Panda, the price won't step up slowly and give you a warning and say it's about to go full moon. It will just go and leave you behind. And if you are joining all the bears, if you're not loading up while it's cheap, if you're not doing your research and doing the work whilst the markets are down, you are getting left behind when they are going up.
Yeah. So there's no magic fairy that waves a flag and says it's time to go.
100%. And I think from experience, I've been left behind before in the past. And when you've been left behind and you know what it feels like, you don't want to go through that again.
You're going to buy the local top at that point when it's bumping.
And other thing, sorry, last note now, the other thing is it feels like everyone is bullish at 60, 70k and then bearish at 30, 40k.
That's actually what's happening. I've been watching the big accounts and they're like, oh yeah, so I'm bullish as soon as we flip 60k, and I'm like, bro, 60k is going to be the fucking resistance again. Why are you not bullish right now?
Yeah. I'm taking profits.
That's where you're taking profits because you're hitting resistance.
Sense. Do you know what though? All these big accounts are getting loads of traction because they're just following and they're just like normies. So anyway, on that note, guys, good show. Tune in next week, same time, all the latest. Have a great week, guys. Hopefully it's as good as last week. Cheers.
Cheers, mates.
Bye-bye.